just for me. Now it feels like forever. It's all been a dream, but I wonder.
So today's guest, she is from the real world Hollywood and MTV's The Ruins. She's Brianna Taylor. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. It's been a long time since I've done one of these.
All right. So before I dive into MTV related questions, I actually read you were on American Idol.
Yes.
So what kind of, when did you kind of get interested in singing?
I was 12 years old the first time I actually figured out that I could sing. I was at camp, this camp Golden Slipper up in the Poconos. I went there for years and years and years. The first song that I actually sang for my mom was a song that I learned at camp. It was Jules, You Were Meant for Me. And, I don't know. It was then that I was really found my passion in singing. And then when I was 14 years old at the same camp, I had literally a nervous breakdown on stage. I was singing Christina Aguilera's I Turn to You.
Okay.
And I hit a wrong note and just started bawling in front of the entire camp. It was a couple hundred people, kids and adults. And ever since then, I realized, okay, well, if I didn't die after that, I can do a lot more. So my fear kind of lessened and lessened and lessened. And now I'm singing for a living. I do it professionally.
Wow, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously you went on the Real World after doing American Idol. So did you kind of get noticed through American Idol, or use that as sort of leverage to when you were auditioning, or was it a different process?
Well, Idol actually, my old friend, she was the one that kind of talked me into it. My, you know what, I'm gonna have to go inside in a second because my phone might die.
Okay.
Let me flip this around. Am I too close? I don't know what's going on. I'm horrible with Skype. But my old friend was the one that actually told me she convinced me to audition. I went to the same high school, and I also worked at the same company as Justin Guarini. He was season 1's runner-up. He came in second place next to Kelly Clarkson, who won the very first season. He does the Dr. Pepper commercials now.
Okay.
But sorry, switching again. My arm's getting along uncomfortable. But yeah, I went to the same high school as Justin Guarini. I met him a handful of times actually. I don't know. I was moved by what he had done. And I thought it was really cool. Of course, I was 16 at the time when he was on the show. He actually graduated with my sister Vicky. But I don't know, when I turned 18, my mom kind of, pushed me away from pursuing anything in entertainment because she had her own experiences, which didn't go too well. She never made it as far as I did, and I have made it, and I'm still making it. But when I turned 18, I saw it as an opportunity that, I can finally do something that I wanted to do my entire life.
Right.
And so I went to the audition. I auditioned in Foxborough, Massachusetts. And the main audition for Simon, Paula, and Randy was in Boston. So in Foxborough, I was actually, I was hopeful, but I didn't think that I would make it as far as I did by any means. And that was just another kind of boost that I needed in order to realize, that I was put on this earth, and we all are put on this earth for a reason. And it's up to us to find each of our individual gifts and each of our individual talents, because we all have them. We just kind of, my mom always would say, well, you got to fall back on something. You got to fall back on something. Well, yeah, I want to fall back on something, but, why am I going to fall back on something that I'm not meant to do? Denzel Washington said it best. If you're going to fall back on anything, fall back on your faith. And it's the truth. You said fall forward. You're not going to always succeed. And there's plenty of times that I didn't succeed in in singing, and I made it to the top 45, season 5 on American Idol, and that's a lot further than I ever had I've never had any expectations, and maybe that's why I made it so far. Now, as far as Real World's concerned, Real World kind of just happened on a fluke. I always wanted to pursue my singing. I was 20 years old when I did Real World. Which I'll be 33 the end of this month now, so that's how long ago
Wow.
it was. Yeah, it's crazy. But I Real World actually that was like a divine intervention opportunity, because my old roommate Joey, actually he came out to visit me when I did Real World. Joey had been talking about going to the Real World audition. He actually, I'm surprised that he didn't make it on, because he's gay. His dad is a retared police sergeant, lieutenant, something. He's retired. He's a cop, but his dad never really, was never really approved of his. Oh, thank you, babe. Thanks. I can't even really do it because my headphones are plugged in here. Let me actually take these out. Let's see.
Okay. Oh, there she is.
I'm sorry. I unplugged my headphones.
It's okay. I could edit that out. So.
Okay. Let me see. Me now. Let's see. All right, I got you now. Oh wait, what am I doing? Come on. Okay. All right, you see me?
No.
You can't? Okay, let me see.
Press the there should be like the video icon at the bottom. Just slide that to the right, I think, and then you should be good. There you go.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I had to turn it off, then turn it back on.
Okay.
Well, let me see if I can prop this up. Maybe that'll be a little bit better. Okay. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Nope. Sorry. Just kidding.
Good. Yeah, that's fine.
And blew down my phone. But how I got started on the Real World, it was kind of like a fluke opportunity. My old roommate Joey, who came out to see me actually when I was in California, he had been wanting to go to this audition for the longest time in Philly, and he kept on asking me about it. At the time, I was with my ex-boyfriend Bobby, and from the show, I don't know if you remember, but Bobby and I had a horrible relationship, like literally from day one, which I haven't talked to him since Real World, but that's neither here nor there. But Joey had been asking me to go to this audition with him, and the day of the audition was at 7 o'clock in the morning. I didn't go to bed till 4 o'clock that morning because I was working the night before. I'm sorry, real fast. Are you able to hear me with the wind?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, all right. I didn't go to bed till 4 o'clock that morning, and I called him the next day, and I told him, I'm like, Joey, I don't think I want to do it. Like, I didn't really think anything of it, and he, of course, gave me a guilt trip, so I'm like, all right, fuck it, I'll throw my clothes on, and I ended up going, am I allowed to curse?
Yeah, you're fine. Everyone does it all the time, so.
So I went to audition, and they actually, the process, they had us sit down at a table. It was a whole bunch of us. It actually went kind of quick. The paperwork that I filled out afterwards, that was the worst part about it. It was like a book. It was that thick, more than the paperwork that I had to fill out for American Idol. But we sat down at a table, and we all went back and forth at the table, and we had to ask each other questions. And I believe, if I'm correct, the question was, if you were stranded on, actually, we each had different questions that we had to ask the person across from each other, I guess. My question was, if you were stranded on a deserted island, and you could only bring 3 things, what would they be? And I said, well, first, I'd bring a boat. Second, I'd bring gas. And then third, I'd bring my music. And I guess they had already planned where the city was going to be. Before I even knew it, before I went to the audition. Oddly enough, I'll tell you what happened directly after the audition that just blew my freaking mind. Well, the casting director held a couple of people back. His name was Booker, and Booker, oddly enough, he looked exactly like my dad, except bald. No joke. And Booker and I kept in touch for a long time after that. During the casting process, they asked to speak to like certain people in your life, that either your friends or your friends, your family, your co-workers, your bosses, anybody, even people that you don't like, they asked to speak to. When he spoke to my mom kept on telling me that he called me his find. And I thought that was the most amazing thing I had ever heard in my entire life, because when we look at ourselves, like we don't see what other people see in us.
Right.
I grew up with horribly, horribly low self-esteem. And even at certain points after Real World, my self-esteem was shot in the shit, in the shitter. I went through a couple of things in my life that between addiction, oh my gosh, addiction, loss, the birth of my son, everything. And I thank God for everything that he's brought into my life, that now I'm able to see the person that he made me be, and that all these people that I've met in my life see me as, even good or bad. Because right. I take good from people that do, that are negative towards me, that, I guess see me as a threat in their life, that I'm doing what I love and I'm happy and I live a happy life and I have an amazing boyfriend and my son is freaking awesome and my family is so close, and I'm thankful for that. But unfortunately, people only take things as far as their perception allows them to take them, until they have experiences in their own life that they're like, oh wow, I guess I was wrong the entire time. So back to Booker, the fact that Booker referred to me, to my mom, nonetheless, like my mom, but not that my mom ever doubted me, but she was definitely afraid of me pursuing anything in entertainment because of the experiences that she had herself. So when Booker was telling her, you need to have a little bit more faith in your daughter, that definitely hit home with her. And since then, my mom's been my number one fan, and she's been supporting me. She does have her moments where she's like, well, maybe you should, look into computers and get a job doing something in computers. Or maybe you should, Mom, I know the risk of my job, but I know the reward too. And when it comes down to it, I'm the only one that can live my life. Right. And I'll be more happy doing what I love, not making that much money, or having the potential to make a lot of money, rather than doing a job that I hate and not making that much money, or have the potential to make that much money. Yeah. After the initial audition, it was really cool. It was a really cool experience. My ex-boyfriend actually made it through the very first audition for Real World, which was, obvious. He was a really good-looking guy, and he actually sang too. But when Booker started diving deeper into both of our lives, we had to record videos. We had to, Bobby wasn't asked to go out to California. I was, because I had made it so far into the finals, and of course Bobby was upset and got, I guess, jealous. Because he did also audition for American Idol with me the year after I had already gone through, and I made it through again, which I wasn't allowed to. They ended up stopping me. The head guy from 19 Entertainment was one of the judges, and he flat out said, he's like, if nobody stopped you so far, he's like, I'm not going to stop you. Go right ahead. So, and 19 Entertainment is affiliated with American Idol. So I guess Bobby was upset that I made it through for American Idol and he didn't make it through. And then here I am making it through for Real World and he didn't make it through. And that is my point. Anybody that truly loves you is going to be happy for your successes, because when you succeed, they succeed. And if anybody that is ever in your life that is upset at your success, they're horribly miserable inside. And there's nothing that you can do about it. Only we can each work together. We can each work on ourselves on our own, in finding our purpose and in finding our own happiness and in changing our own lives. We can't expect anybody else to see things from where they're coming from, because that's their life, that's their perspective, and our perspective in life only comes from things that we've been through, and that's where our fears come from. That's where our insecurities come from. That's where our jealousies come from. So the moment that you try to understand where somebody else is not even so much, we should try to understand where other people are coming from. But the moment that you let that attempt to understand affect your well-being, that's when you're in a whole freaking world of shit. At least try to understand, but if you can't, just let it go and back up. And I stopped trying to understand where Bobby came from. And I found actually my boyfriend now, oddly enough, does the same thing that I do. He's a singer. And where it's funny because where I falter, he rises, and where I rise, he falters. So like we're a lot alike, but we're able to help each other out in a way that I never thought. And he was actually excited for me to be able to do this podcast with you today because he knows like this is my life, this is my livelihood. Real world, not so much anymore, although I've been thinking about maybe reaching out and maybe trying another challenge because I already did one. But I'm thankful that I had the opportunity. I'm thankful for all the people that I met along the way, especially doing Real World. And Booker, I wish I could talk to my casting director Booker again because he was absolutely incredible. And I never expected to make it on the show because I didn't take it seriously. I was, that's what they say about oh geez Louise, Dwight, is that plugged in? I don't think it's plugged in. I don't know. Well, we'll see if my phone dies. I apologize.
It's all good.
But I'm thankful for the opportunity that I had when I got cast on Real World because it's funny how life works out. When you can look forward to something, but the more pressure that you put on yourself thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it and not just giving it up and saying, this is what I want, I would love for this to happen. If it doesn't, life goes on. There's probably a better thing ahead of, there's definitely something better ahead of me. And that's why I'm seeing now, I didn't make it on American Idol. I didn't make it as far as I had wanted to on American Idol because I wasn't allowing life to take its course. I wasn't, I thought too much about it. And I had far more expectations and I had far more expectations. And that's when, we get stuck. And when we expect so much and it doesn't happen, then we give up on everything. And that's not what we're supposed to do in life. We're supposed to say, hey, I didn't make it for this reason because there's something better. And after not making it all the way on Idol, then Real World came about. And that was one of the best experiences of my life. And I'm so thankful. And oddly enough, right after I made it through the first cut on Real World, I went to a psychic, and the woman told me, she said, you're about to go on a big trip. I didn't even say anything about American Idol or Real World or anything. After I made it through, the first cut for Real World, I went to a psychic, and because I like that stuff. And she told me, she said, you're about to go on a humongous trip. And I said, where to? She said, it looks like you're going to Hollywood. And then lo and behold, I kept on getting through these cuts. And I'm then finding out the city was Hollywood. And that's why Booker called me his friend, because he eventually knew that I had, the first thing that blew his mind was the fact that I said my music. So instantly, if they had already picked the city, they're like, well, what's up with her music? Why does she love music so much? And then when I found out that it was, he found out that I did American Idol and everything like that. He heard me sing, and then the moment he heard me sing, he told me that he was building the cast around me, which is crazy.
Wow.
And then I think at the same time they were also talking about Joey too. So Joey had already mentioned that he had these aspirations to become an actor. So then they started building the cast around Joey. And then they, the only one that really didn't know what he wanted to do, but he had that personality, that infectious personality, was Dave.
Yeah.
And Dave he's so successful now, from what I've heard. I haven't talked to him in a while. We actually spent a lot of time together after the show. we were together just about every day because he was living only a half an hour from me.
Mhm.
So at the time, but now I hear that he's working for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm pretty sure.
Oh wow.
So it's really cool, like how each of us, played a different role, and as different as we are, like Bill Murray has been doing this for a long, long time. So when we each walked into the house, we really thought that, are these paid actors? Like, we're looking at each other because at the beginning, everybody seemed so extra. Like, oh, let me
Right.
put on the show. Let me do my makeup under the covers so that I wake up bright and fresh in the morning. And then after a while, you're like, okay, this is a real person just like me. They just took a shit in front of me the other day. So, they're walking around butt-ass naked with, flour all over them, but it's really cool how each one of us played a humongous role in their casting and in everything, and it's crazy because I kind of take it as even though it's a reality show, Real World kind of was the first experience in my life of how we are all connected in one way or another. If you know anybody's like backstories, like Kim's backstory and her dad, and the fact that I was a dancer and her dad ran away with a dancer, but then of course Kim wants to be a host on E News, so like it is pretty crazy. And then me with my addiction issues, and then Joey, he passed away from an overdose, and it is pretty wild when you think about it. But yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so at the time when your season was airing, it was really popular. But now a lot of people kind of, I think, mostly due to the lack of challenge presence on the show, a lot of people refer to your season as the forgotten season of the Real World, because you had you only did one season, and Dave only did one season, and a lot of you guys, weren't really, challenge mainstays. So your season kind of flies under the radar a little bit, but a lot of people, forget how good your season really was.
Yeah, keep going. I'm listening.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask, do you still keep in contact with your roommates from Hollywood?
No. We did for a little while, and here and there, sometimes we will call each other. Like, believe it or not, Kim and I, we. Oh, shit. Sorry, I'm dropping things in my house. I don't really keep in touch with everybody from Real World. But here and there, like, we'll reach out to one another. You look so familiar, by the way. You look crazy familiar. But anyway, I'm sorry.
It's all good.
I don't have, huh?
No, I said you're good.
I don't keep in touch with everybody from Real World. Occasionally, we'll all reach out to one another here and there. Kim and I actually, a lot of people would be surprised, or actually a lot of people would be happy to know that Kim and I found an unbelievable newfound friendship. And we're both moms now. We both have grown up considerably since the show. I'm a lot cleaner than I was when I was in the world. I'm a lot more organized now that I'm a mom. And Kim actually, from the bottom of her heart, she apologized to me for how she treated me on the show. She's like, I was so immature. And she realized, what people were saying, like the backlash. I mean, a lot of people that watch the show don't really realize that what you guys saw was only 13 hours of footage. We were there for 4 months. 4 months. So, and there's a lot of stuff that they should have shown that they didn't show, and they didn't even show it on they didn't even have I think a shit they should have shown for our season. And even the questions that we were asked at the reunion were like very shallow, and barely cut the surface of what we all experienced in the house. All of the coincidences that happened that none of us could explain, that we discussed later on, and we're like, well, remember when this happened? And then later on, this happened to counteract. It was really weird. A lot of weird stuff happened. We worked for Habitat for Humanity, and I think that's part of the reason why we're a forgotten season, because the reunion kind of left a bad taste in all of our mouths. Not only was the chick, that I call her a chick because I don't know that. That's whatever. It doesn't make any difference. People call me chick. I don't care. But I don't see that as a demeaning term. But I don't know. I kind of felt like how she was totally incompetent in doing her job. I kind of feel like I don't know. If you're going to be a host, and at least like the same thing with like these newscasters. Like if you're going to, try to send a message or do your job, any job. You work at McDonald's, you work at ShopRite, you work in a doctor's office, you work in a hospital. Well, you're the freaking president. Like if you have a job to do, you got to do your job. That's your job.
Right.
And she didn't do her job. I don't know if they told her which questions to ask or I have no clue. But she didn't even scrape the surface of oh shit, sorry. I'm trying to hold on to this. The woman that hosted our reunion show, I feel like she didn't even scrape the surface of what we all were hoping that she would talk about. The fact, no offense to her, because I do like her, I think she's a great person, Janelle already had her time, and she should have never been brought out on the show. And that was for shock factor, and that's part of the reason why we all kind of were like, so is this about the cast of The Real World, or is it about Will, sleeping with Janelle? Like, is this about Will sleeping with Brittany? Was this about Will trying to sleep with Sarah? And it wasn't even about Will. It was more about Janelle. I don't even think that they even allowed Will to, say his piece, really, which was fucked up. And, there were so many things that we had all wanted to discuss, but we didn't get a chance to. And a lot of us actually, I'm pretty pissed off because instead of me being the person that I've always been, I was told by a person who will remain unnamed, and I'm not upset with him for doing this because I understood where it was coming from, but I was told that I need to tone back my me. I need to tone back being myself. And being myself is what helped my album sell so much. Being myself
right.
is how people were able to come out of their own shells because they saw that no matter what opposition I was facing, that I still was able to overcome it. Yes, I got pissed, I got angry, but I still didn't let me ruin. I still didn't let bullshit ruin me as a person, I wish there's a lot of things that I wish that I could have gone back and done, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity in talking about a lot of things that I know that a lot of us wanted to talk about. I kind of wish that I had the opportunity to go back to that reunion, be me, and tell Sarah that she is a piece of shit. I don't know how she is now. I haven't talked to her in years, but she's a know-it-all. And I'm sure she's realizing, I guess now she was a know-it-all. I haven't talked to Sarah since the show ended. And even Kim and I spent a lot of time together. Kim, Brittany, and I spent a lot of time together in New York when we were filming the reunion. We went out the day before. We hung out that night, and then Will, Kim, and I were sitting in Will's room. We actually made a video and we posted it, and it was pretty much about the things that we never got asked, and how Sarah did the self-righteous thing where she said she grew so much, but she didn't. She was honestly the worst person in the entire house. I don't judge her for that today. I didn't even judge her for that back then. But there were times, I don't know, even on the reunion, you see me roll my eyes a couple of times, and that was because I was instructed to dial it back a little bit. Not by anybody from Buena Murray at all. They encouraged us to be our normal selves. We all were very upset when Janelle was brought back on because that was totally unnecessary. She barely spent, she was literally in our house all of, I don't know, 5 times. And whatever happened with her and Will actually ended up leaving the house for a little while. He went over to Janelle's house, which was totally against the rules. But, they didn't, up until when the reunion was, from when the show aired, Will and Janelle, it was months. Will and Janelle didn't even speak. So for her to be brought back, that was entirely it was bullshit. It was ridiculous. I understand why they did it, but it was stupid. And that's what left a lot of bad taste in our mouths. And even beforehand, we all we're talking about doing the challenges and everything, and Dave was adamant about it. And then Dave realized that, and this is no offense to a lot of the people that are still doing real world nowadays, because a lot of them, I give them major props, because they're not only using real world as a platform, which they should, they're also, pursuing their own dreams and their own careers and their own aspirations. Anybody that I feel as though gets stuck in, this is going to pay my bills for the rest of my life, is an asshole. Because real world, their time and they're short lived, and I mean, if that's how they feel, that's how they feel, and God bless them, and I hope that everything works out for them. But Dave realized, just like I realized in the first challenge that I did, the one and only challenge that I did, the ruins in Thailand, I realized that a lot of the people knew what the fuck they were doing in playing things up for the camera. And that, in my opinion, I guess that is being real, because of, you have to be real fake. I don't feel this way, but I guess some people feel as though you have to be real fake in order to make it anywhere. And unfortunately, we live in a very, very plastic world, a very plastic country. Our world is more geared to like how good a person looks, or instead of a person being true to their heart and true to their instincts, like people end up committing suicide because of what society tells us that we have to be. We don't have to be anything other than ourselves. And some people don't even know who they are. And this is the problem, that I saw when I did the show. Like, I can name a few names, but I'm not going to bother going there. I really want to right now, but I'm trying to be a better person overall for my own sanity. There were a couple people who have been on other challenges who, there might have been one of their first ones, or actually there's one that was her first one. And you guys can do that narrowing down. But I don't talk to her. But I noticed, and the reason why I don't talk to her, the reason why I chose not to have a relationship with her, even though I was very polite to her, and we were really cool at the very beginning, is because I saw a different side of her when all was said and done. In our room, when there was no camera around, she was a completely different person. But then I saw her trying to, be up people's asses, and she was just completely and utterly fake. And God bless her, because now she's making a hell of a lot of money being fake, and I got to give her kudos for that. She must have seen a bigger picture. I have to give her kudos for that. But I don't know. You can't take money with you when you die. You can't. And you're always going to remember the enemies that you made along the way, or the people that you totally were disappointed in your actions that are not going to. And I'm sure she's doing this on Real World. She's doing this, and the other people, I'm sure if they're doing it on Real World, they're also doing it in their regular lives. They're not thinking about anyone but themselves, and themselves in that point in time. And maybe if I make this money, that I'll be happy. No, you're not going to be happy. Because when you're, 80 years old or 90 years old, and nobody wants to be around you because of how you treated them years and years ago, because people never forget what you say, but they forget how they never forget people will forget what you say, but they will never forget how you make them feel. And I personally, for me, I've chosen not to be around people that I instinctually feel like are going to bring me down in one way or another. I give somebody an opportunity to prove themselves to me, but I take everything with a grain of salt. And that's not being pessimistic. That's just being realistic. I'm a very, very optimistic person. But unfortunately in this life, people are going to, let you down sometimes. But when you stay true to yourself, it doesn't hurt that much. And that's part of the reason why I didn't do a challenge for so long, because I saw sides of some people. There were other people that were there that I absolutely adore to this day. DMs, God bless her, was one of the most genuine, kind-hearted, loving people I have ever met in my entire life. And, there's a bunch of others that I love, and I hope that they're doing well. I don't talk to them, but I don't know. I just feel as though I wouldn't sell. Some of these people would sell their own mom out for a bit of TV time and $10,000, $100,000. Why? Like, right. And I don't know. I guess we all realize that we're gonna die inevitably. Like at one point in time, we're all going to die. That's just a part of life. So why live your life clamoring for that dollar when you could clamor for love? You could clamor for your own happiness. You could clamor not to, be wanting to commit suicide because you don't even know the person that you are. And that's the thing that people don't always think about. The fights that we get into because of our pride and and that's one thing that was wrong with me when I did the show. I was incredibly prideful, and I there were ways that I thought that I was being targeted, or there was a lot of things that I didn't realize back then that I do realize now. But unfortunately, I've thought about maybe possibly doing another challenge, but I also weigh risk factor, and I'm wondering, like, I'm thinking to myself, like, if I do another challenge, will it be beneficial to my spiritual health and my mental health and my heart health? I can't say that. I don't know. I have no idea. But other than that, I'm very, very, very happy and very thankful in my life right now. And I don't know. We'll see what tomorrow brings.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, most of the girls had like I'd say a very rough go with most of the champ guys in the House on the Ruins. So more specifically, Wes, Johnny, Kenny, and Evan. What was your dynamic with them like for you personally?
We actually met Johnny, Kenny, and Evan a couple of times. They actually came up to our real world house when we were living in California, and they seemed like pretty cool guys. They were all right. Just recently, actually, I thought it was really cool, and I'm really proud of him. Johnny Bananas. I saw him. I was at Quest Diagnostics, and I saw him on a commercial, like one of their things that they have there. And anytime that I see a real worlder achieving their dreams, that makes me so happy. Like when they realize that this TV stuff, it's cool, it's all right, it's fun. That there's a bigger picture out there, and I'm not going to be able to fall back on this for the rest of my life. I always like seeing that. As far as, I think out of everyone, Evan probably was my favorite. And I can't comment on any single person's character because I don't know them well enough to do so, nor is it my right to do so, even if I had known them for years and years from my whole life. I can't comment on somebody else's character. They were all right. They were all right. They played the game, and I wish them the best, and I think that's really cool that they're each, going after their dreams. I think that's awesome.
All right. So this is like a lot of people look back at this moment. It's been brought up a lot lately, actually, by fans and the challenge itself. Siobhan, when she thought she busted her implant, what was that like that we didn't see?
Oh my gosh, this poor girl. She like face planted into the water. I'm pretty sure we were doing like the monkey challenge. I think it was a monkey challenge, and she climbed over one of them, and of course she was at her, man. Oh my gosh, I felt so bad for her because I don't know what that feels like. I don't have fake boobies, and I can only imagine. I know some girls actually that have popped implants, or just had bad things happen to them. With even girls, I know girls that have butt implants too that just have had bad things happen. I felt so bad for her. Siobhan's such a sweetheart. She's such a nice girl, and I did feel really bad for her that day. And that's funny that they're still bringing it up.
Yeah, they do they've been doing like all these ranking videos on the challenge YouTube channel, and they that's come up, like Siobhan in general has come up in like 3 of the last
Oh really?
It's I don't know, like it's just out of nowhere because
I love her. She's so sweet. She's such a sweetheart.
Mm-hmm. So when you got obviously voted to go into your elimination, you were kind of like one of the stronger girls, I'd say, on the challenger team. Obviously, you had like Casey that could have gone in, but when you were, going in, You chose to go against Susie, which she obviously was undefeated. And a lot of people were surprised by that. Was she your initial choice? Did you always want to choose Susie, or were you leaning towards somebody else at first?
Well, I mean, I honestly, my whole philosophy in my life is go big or go home. You know, I live boldly, I pray boldly. I raise my son to do the same. I'm a risk taker, which it doesn't always wind up so well. And our strategy was, well, of course, our people that had already been on challenges but didn't win challenges, that was the team that I'm on. So the people that had already been on challenges, that had been there, that were very close to veterans, they already had their own strategy so that they could make it till the end. I could dive deep. I don't know if you actually know, but the more challenges that you do, you get an initial pay from Murray. So I'm sure obviously people know that now, but I just got paid, per, I guess, week that I was there. So if I had done 3 challenges, I would have gotten, I'm pretty sure, an initial $1,000 if it was like my 4th challenge. So, they already had that, which was crazy. I knew I was going to be put in anyway, because I was like a rookie. Like I, had never done a challenge before ever. Mind you, everybody knew my background. They knew my arm strength. Unfortunately, smoking was the one thing that did me in, because if I didn't smoke, I don't doubt that I would have been able to beat Susie, because literally when I tell you it was neck and neck, it was neck and neck. Yeah. And my arm strength, oddly enough, a couple of years ago, I was in the hospital for a while. I almost lost my arms. Wow. Both of my hands, actually. I don't know if you can see.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on a second. Wow. I have somebody beeping and trying to call me. I don't know if you can see my hands, but they're both like this. I have a scar on my arm.
Oh, wow.
Both of my arms. I had to get surgery. I'll get into that later. But oddly enough, my arm strength has never waned. I do push-ups now, fist closed push-ups, because I can't put my hand flat, which are difficult from what I hear. But I was a dancer for so long. My arm strength, I was a gymnast when I was younger, so my arm strength, has never failed me. So our strategy when I picked Susie was eliminate the strong girls. And they said, Brianna, you're one of the strongest on our team, so we think you could eliminate her. And of course, I was going to pick her to begin with anyway, because she was one of the strongest girls. Evelyn had already been eliminated, I'm pretty sure. So, and I wasn't chance to go against Evelyn. Actually, I would have, honestly. I like Evelyn. Evelyn's a sweetheart. She's always been really nice. But I mean, I wasn't so sure about Evelyn. But if she had been there, I probably still would have picked her, because then, that gives me kudos on the team. If I were to beat Evelyn, which is the strongest girl on any team, I would have easily kept my place there the entire time. No doubt about it. So I decided to go against Susie, which she was the next strongest girl on their team. When I tell you it was neck and neck, it was neck and neck. As soon as we had to turn the wheel in order for the water to drip for the fire to get out. As soon as she put mine out, it was like boom, boom, like within not even a second. Mine went out and then hers went out. So, and it was crazy, it was really cool. And I don't know, just the whole opportunity was a lot of hurry up and wait. But when we actually did get to do the challenges, they were really, really fun. And just the teamwork aspect. And I definitely still would have picked Susie through and through, even today. I'd love a rematch. I would love that.
So obviously it was very close. I actually got done watching it right before you started talking about it. So I did my homework.
Oh yay!
Thank you. They have the episodes on like iTunes, I think, like that. Yeah. So I watched it off there. So that being said, would you have rathered it be kind of like a head-to-head physical type of elimination, or were you cool with what you got?
Oh no, I would have loved to wrestle somebody. Absolutely, there's no. I would love to. Oh, geez. I've always been a fighter since I was young. And because I'm tiny, but I don't know. I guess a lot of people, anybody that has ever witnessed me fight knows that. I mean, I'm like my boyfriend, just going lose my head. I'll pick shit up. I don't care, you know. But I am very very quick, and if I were to be able to wrestle Susie, and even possibly race her, I would have won. No doubt about it.
Mm-hmm. So have you recently watched since being on, or did you kind of put that? Wow.
No, I don't know. I watch a lot. I have a 9-year-old about to be a 10-year-old, and I watch a lot of Sonic the Hedgehog. I watch a lot of. I'm a cartoon girl. I'm going to be a kid for the rest of my life. I love cartoons. I love kids cartoons. I love anime. I love Family Guy. I love American Dad. I love South. Actually, I haven't watched South Park in a while, but I love South Park. But yeah, I mean, I haven't. The only real people show that I watch is Walking Dead, and I don't really watch any really reality shows. I used to watch Little People, Big World. I love that show, but I haven't watched that in a long time. We didn't have cable for a while, actually. And we still don't have cable. We just use the Fire Stick, which is pretty awesome. We got a Roku box too. So, but I mean, I don't really have much of a desire to watch Real World, just because I don't have a desire to watch the challenges either, just because I don't know. I guess I know what it's about, and I know that I sometimes editing isn't always sincere. They try to make it mostly sincere, but sometimes, you know, cutting and pasting does happen, and that's why it's called editing. And you know, or honestly, just watching people having my impression of certain people, and then seeing act them a totally different way without editing. I don't like that. I don't, because it makes me feel like they're being insincere, or you know, I don't like that.
So a few seasons after your last one, they introduced what's called I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you've probably heard something about it. It was a rivals season when they pair you and someone, you know, either someone that you're in a beef with or someone you've fought with in the past. Are you aware, like, of that season that they did a couple times?
Yeah, I did hear about that. Yeah.
Okay.
I was like talking to my friend Lily Madden. She actually does the same thing that you do. Lily, she's a blogger. She does podcasts and everything too, and she keeps me, you know, up to date about what's going on with different people.
Okay, so I was gonna ask, since obviously on the Real World, you and Kimberly got at it a little bit. You know, I was gonna ask, how do you think that you and Kim would have did if they put you guys together for a rivals pair?
Right, we would have killed it. We would have won because we get along very well now. But yeah, I mean, if they did put us together, I think we would have done a great job. I don't know, we still have our views and our ideas and everything. Even politically, we have our views and our ideas and stuff. So we don't really comment too much on that anymore because he disagrees with me there. But I honestly think that the type of people that we are now, that we've grown to be, we would easily have made a great team.
Mm-hmm. So when you were obviously in the ruins, Wes and Bananas had, like, you know, their kind of clashes. And basically the story for the last, 10 or so years has been Wes versus Bananas on most of the seasons. But for this current season that's happening, they actually made a secret 2-man alliance. And they're actually together, yeah. So I'm going to ask you, having been there, it's for basically to see the beginning of what started the rivalry, what is your thoughts on them, joining up?
I don't know. I really didn't talk to Wes a whole lot. He was all right. I didn't really talk to Johnny a whole lot. I mean, they're both pretty cool guys, and you know, obviously, anytime that a group can put anytime people can put a rivalry behind them, which obviously, clearly, it's not for, you know, the sake of being friendly, unless, you know, it could be something that does come out of it. If they do, do well, I mean, I haven't watched, but if they do well, I don't even know if the season's over, or I don't know. But if they do well, maybe they will end up having a friendship out of it. But they only did that because of money, so
Yeah.
I can't say too much about it. I
Right.
can't wait.
So what are some hidden talents of yours that people might not know about you?
I've always been a very good writer. I'm very wordy. I don't know if you could tell. I talk too damn much, but I've always been a very good writer, and there's a lot of things that I am passionate about that I would like to write about. I don't know if I could do that for a living. I don't ever want to. Not that I don't want to do it for a living. Like I would enjoy maybe like. I thought about, possibly being a political speechwriter, like just, maybe going to school to see, to get myself out there and maybe start writing small, like writing for, like state legislators or, like governors, mayors. But no, I don't want to do that. I want to sing still. Singing's always been my passion. That's not a hidden talent. Everybody knows that I do that. What else? I don't know. I fart pretty well.
Oh man.
A pretty good farter. They don't really ever smell. They're always loud though. Like I think honestly, Guinness Book of World Records, I beat that the other day. This quarantine's affecting all of our bodies pretty crazy. But and my son is almost at my level. I'm trying to teach him some tricks of the trade. But I don't know. I don't know what other hidden talents I have. I like doing art. I don't know. I never really thought about it. I just concentrated on the ones that I know that I already do well. But I think I'm gonna start looking into some other things. I don't know.
What about some things you aren't good at?
That list is pretty long.
You don't have to give me the whole lowdown. You can just throw a few.
My patience, now that I'm a mom, has completely decreased a lot. So that's why I try to, pick my battles as much as I can. I'm a very good cook. I'm a very good cook. And I cook all the time. I'm not a very good exerciser. I'm not. Since I stopped dancing, I try to, I do exercise. I do my Pilates and my P90X, but it's a matter of me getting motivated. So like a couple of days will go by, and then I'll have like 3 or 4 days where I bust my ass, and then like a month will go by, and then I'll do it again.
Yeah.
But I mean, other than that, I don't know. I could kill you with that forever with the things that I'm not good at.
So this question has come up quite a bit on my podcast. So I'm gonna ask you, you're cookies or brownies?
Ooh, I'm not really a big sweets person. I know I'm weird. I don't know. Skittles? I'm just kidding. I think I actually pick cookies. I don't know, because brownies are pretty good, especially if you put like caramel and marshmallow in them. But I mean, if I was really in dire need of cookies, okay, I pick brownies with the fudge and the caramel and the marshmallow in them, but only that way. No.
Wow. I'm gonna ask you this one too because it's also come up a lot. I've had people rank in terms of like the 3 main fast foods, their personal preference between Burger King, McDonald's, and Wendy's. So
Wendy's, definitely
as best.
Yeah, I put Wendy's at the forefront. I mean, you got to add the chicken places in too. KFC, Popeyes.
Oh yeah.
Taco Bell was pretty bomb. I'm not a big fast foodie too often, but if I were to get fast food, KFC or Popeyes would be my main go-to.
Yeah,
no doubt about it. Mm-hmm. How about you?
Out of the 3 fast foods,
mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, I use this analogy a lot. I would always put Burger King first, but like when I compare, I'm not sure why I enjoy it so much or why I choose that over the other 2. and I compared it to Criminal Minds. Like, I used to like that a lot. And
Yeah.
then now, if I'm going to bed every night, if I'm looking at, just put something on to fall asleep to, it's always on, but I can't tell you why, because I haven't, like, enjoyed an episode of it in probably close to, 5 years now.
That's crazy. It's probably Burger King's guys. But no, I know exactly what you mean, because I do the same thing with a lot of stuff too. Like I know exactly what you mean. I haven't watched Criminal Minds in a long time either. I'll turn that back on. Might do that today.
Yeah, might have to.
And I'm not really a fan of Burger King. I think it's because years ago I ate Burger King after a night of drinking and just puked it up, and it was just not good.
Lasting impact. So what have you been up to since we last seen you on television?
Well, like I said, I am, actually, I'm gonna pull this out. I'm gonna walk to the kitchen, so come join me. I've been, will be 10 in December. I just been singing. I actually work for a company, Crystal Entertainment, based out of South Jersey. That's where I live now. I live in Sewell, New Jersey, and I work for a company. I do some agent work, like booking nails and everything. But I still do sing. Singing is like my number one all-time passion. I'm prepared to be singing for the rest of my life, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
That's awesome.
And even my voice has grown so much. So don't mind my mess in the background. We actually just moved. So I used to live in Paulsboro, but we just moved to school from Paulsboro maybe like a little less than a month ago.
Wow.
So we're trying to downsize all the shit that we have. So we have a lot of stuff to get rid of, but unfortunately, a lot of places aren't doing pickups. We can't donate really anything, so it's just a waiting game.
Yeah.
But aside from my son, I sing full time now. Do a little bit of agent work. I write a lot, cook a lot. I was talking about my arms earlier. When my son was first born, I battled with heroin and cocaine and crack addiction. And I almost lost my life. My blood went septic. And the doctors gave me a 50-50 chance. My arms were in bad shape. Actually, my left arm was worse than my right arm because I'm a righty. So, yes, I was injecting. And I would inject into my right arm. And it's crazy because we all know the dangers of everything. But, of course, we get stuck in our own mindset and say, oh, that'll never happen to me. Well, I should have known that it was going to happen to me because my father is also a recovering addict. He's a recovering alcoholic and a recovering pill user. And a few of my other family members have struggled with addiction too. I never really had a relationship with my dad. He's a minister now, and we talk fairly often now. But I was being a kid, being stubborn. I didn't think that anything was ever going to happen to me, and it did. And I almost died. And that was the day that I decided to give my life over to God. That was the day that my mom, my mom also. Oh crap! Why is this not charging? Sorry. I don't know what's going on. 1%. Let me see. What is this? I have no idea what's going on. Oh, there it goes. Okay. All right. That's better. That was the day that I decided to give my life over to God. And ever since then, things have been moving in a much better direction than I could have ever expected. I've had my struggles and my bumps and bruises along the way. But overall, if I didn't have faith in something or someone bigger than me, and I'm a firm believer that it doesn't matter which religion it is. If you believe that there is something greater, that you cannot control everything in your life, no matter how hard you try to. You cannot control other people. You cannot make people do anything that they don't want to do. It makes your life a fuck ton easier. Sorry, Jimmy. Oh, my son's out here. Jimmy, come here. Come here. Come here. It makes my life a whole lot easier. It makes everybody's life a whole lot easier. And every good religion will tell you the same thing that, hi, that's my little man.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Good.
Mommy, you stink.
Thank you. I know. I was sitting outside. I'm going to take a shower in a little bit.
No.
He gets that from me. Mommy, you stink. That's what he just said. Thanks, Jimmy. Thank you. But I was sitting outside all morning, laying out in the sun. But I just feel like I feel as though that no matter what religion it is, when you open your heart up to the possibility that we all have a purpose here, and we all, whether people want to admit it or not, we all affect one another in different ways, and even in negative ways. When somebody's affecting you, if you're getting upset with what they're doing, and even a person down the street, they could it's a catch-22. We can only worry about what we do ourselves. We can't make anybody else do anything that we wouldn't expect our own selves to do. We can't push anybody to do anything. We can only worry about ourselves. But we are still connected in one way or another. And in realizing that we're connected, it makes your life, and realizing that I can only control myself. And then also realizing that me controlling myself is bettering the entire world around me, which it does. It makes life a lot easier to, I guess, to go through, because I can't control what's going to happen. I can have a plan for tomorrow. I can have a plan for today. But sometimes, life has a different plan,
Right.
and I just have to go with the flow. And I'm tired. Ever since I started realizing that, my depression has gone away. My anger has gone away. My weight has gone up. My skin has cleared up. I just feel a lot better overall. And we all worry. It's funny because we all deal with invisible enemies every single day, and we don't even realize it. And that's one thing that also any good religion will tell you too. Like, the giants that we face in our lives, the mountains that we face in our lives, they're not as big. We always come out on the other side, and if you have faith in something bigger, whether you do come out on the other side or whether, that you get taken, we're all going to have to die one day eventually, and, or you can die happy living a life of purpose, or you can be on your deathbed and imagine being on your deathbed and having your hopes, your dreams, your regrets, every single thing that you wish you could take back in your life surrounding you, or your guilt, your sadness. And imagine all the negative things that we put ourselves through, that our minds, that we don't allow ourselves to do because of fear, because of guilt, or everything that we don't want in our lives. Imagine that all surrounding our bed because we just didn't free it from ourselves, or we didn't pursue the passion that we were put on this earth to pursue. We let everybody else get in our heads and say, you can't do this, you can't do that, well, you're never going to make it, you're never going to do that. And that is an invisible enemy. Fear is the biggest invisible enemy, and it's the reason why we react the way that we do. That we don't listen to other people to hear. We listen to respond. We react. We listen to react. We react before responding. And we don't even hear one another because we're assuming more than we're listening. We're thinking that we know everything, and it's just so much easier when you just let shit go. It really is. You sleep better at night.
Yeah. Actually, this was gonna lead into my last question, but since you were mentioning Jersey, I was actually I was gonna ask for your next question. I was obviously gonna bring up how the coronavirus has kind of forced you to have to adjust, but I was gonna make a point that I actually 2 days after my birthday actually was when this whole thing started. So like basically. Yeah, thank you. Basically, my birthday was like the last like real day of like true social interaction that before this obviously started. And I actually was down in South Jersey during that, because right now I live normally up north, but I was visiting my grandparents, right? And then that's when this all started. So yeah, it was kind of crazy, Like the first 2 weeks of it, I was down there. But so now I'm gonna ask you, how has the virus kind of forced you to adjust?
Well, like I earlier, my boyfriend and I, we actually do the same thing. He also bartends, but I just strictly sing and I do, agency work and stuff. So we've been on we were able to file for the PUA, pandemic unemployment assistance. Unfortunately, New Jersey's Governor Murphy. I have no idea where his mind is. I know he's probably stressed out. Look, the good thing about this virus, and I'm trying to see every positive thing about this virus, is that it's going to prove to every American who's willing to actually know real information, to look for information instead of just hearing he said, she said. It's going to prove who real leaders are and who aren't real leaders. And unfortunately, Governor Murphy is failing right now, and he's failing a lot of New Jersey citizens. He's being far more, in my opinion, he's being far more tyrannical than he's actually being fair. I have my own thoughts about what should be happening, what should be happening right now across the U.S. But I'm I speak about my thoughts, but I'm not going to force anybody to do anything that they don't want to do. I still go out. I still social distance. I still wear my mask, and I'm only, around people that are okay with being around me, and I personally, my neighbors don't wear masks, so I don't wear my mask around them. I don't, because if they're not worried about it, then I'm not going to worry about it. And for my own family safety, I allow my son and my boyfriend, obviously makes his own decisions. So, I'm not going to make him do anything that he doesn't want to do. But New Jersey has mandated that in order to go into any business, we have to wear a mask. That's cool. That's fine. I will do that.